So in last night's preseason game, Odell Beckham proceeds to get smacked in his knee. Smacked in his knee, right? And a lot of people are saying it's a clean play, which is a clean play because there is no rule that says you cannot do that. So that's what makes it a clean play. However, in my opinion, that's a dirty play when you have time. And if you look at the tape, and I'll put the link to the video in the description box below, it looks like the player had enough time to make a football decision out there, whether to hit Odell in his knee, or to hit him in his thigh, or in his waist, or in his stomach, or in his chest, or in his shoulder, or in his neck head area. So when Odell Beckham got hit, I must say he made it look a little bit dramatic. The way that he was acting, I thought that his leg was going to get amputated, but he's fine. He's clear, no knee injury, a little bit of an ankle injury. They tested him for a concussion because I guess he hit his head on the way down. But it was much ado about nothing at the end of the day. But this is why you have Le'Veon Bell sitting at home. This is why you have Aaron Donald sitting at home, because why risk getting hurt in the preseason game, right? So if you've ever been to a preseason game or bought preseason tickets, you know that there are the exact same price as regular season games, right? So to me, that's why they're playing. Like seriously, these are professional athletes and these are some of the best players. Do they really need 4 preseason games to get ready? Now I know that you have your long shot players and you have the players that are trying to make the team, so I get all that. But really, like, do the star players really need 4 games? No. So the fact that he was in the second quarter, one, that's a problem. Number 2, I should say, the fact that he or his coach, McAdoo is an a-hole if you ask me. Odell Beckham is the best player on the Giants. I love me some Collins. He's a bad man, all right? He is a bad man. But Eli Manning, he cool too. But at the end of the day, Odell Beckham is his best player. And he won't even, support him. Earlier in the year, or earlier in training camp, he said that Odell Beckham going for one-hand catches, he really doesn't like that. He just likes a regular catch. Catching the football is the most important thing. He doesn't care if it's one-handed. And it's almost like he's taking a jab at Odell. Then when this happens, he's like, yeah, that's not a dirty play. And then you think about what happened in the playoff game a couple of years back, Cincinnati, or maybe it was the game before the playoffs. Excuse me, I'm having a brain fart. But maybe it was the game before the playoffs where Le'Veon Bell proceeds to get hit in his knee, going for a catch, and Reggie Nelson, who was a safety for the Bengals at the time, goes at his knee. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below as well. And Mike Tomlin said that's a perfectly legal hit. Now, why would he say that? He would say that because maybe, hey, it is a perfectly legal hit because there is no rule against that. We all know nobody wants their knees taken away from them. Ask Derrick Rose if he wants his knees taken away from him. You know what I mean? Gale Sayers had his knee taken away from him. He only plays, 7 years? Same with Terrell Davis. So I get that CTE and concussions are the biggest problem with the NFL, but soccer has a concussion problem. I just seen a soccer player get hit in the head going for a head ball, and he got a concussion. Hockey players get a concussion. Sidney Crosby freaking Crosby was out for like a year and a half because of concussion playing hockey. You know what I mean? So, Dale Earnhardt Jr. retired because of concussion. He's inside of a car and he's wearing a helmet. So, at the end of the day, I do get that CT and concussions are the biggest thing, but they're the biggest problem because the NFL knows that it has lawsuits on its hands, so they don't want no more concussions, and I get that. I completely understand that, but there is a huge gap between going after somebody's head and going after somebody's ankle or knee. That's a huge gap. You have at least 3 to 4 feet of real estate in between somebody's knee and neck. Hit him in the shoulder, hit him in the ribs, hit him in the stomach, hit him in the chest, the waist, the thighs. There is a lot of real estate where you can hit somebody at. So I hate this notion that, hey, you can't hit him in the head, so hit him in the knee. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, because nobody on a football team has ever been taught to tackle at the knees. You hit in the waist and you wrap up at the knees. You hit in the thigh and you wrap up at the knees, but nobody has ever said charge and dive at somebody's knees. And I'm gonna give you an example. Some of the most fearsome hitters in the world, and I'm not talking about dirty hitters or anything like that. I'm talking about like your John Lynch's, right? John Lynch really didn't headhunt. He found a way to hit people dead in their chest and deliver a blow. Ronnie Lott, same thing. Ray Lewis, same thing. Tell me how many times Ray Lewis went after somebody's knee. Tell me how many times Ray Lewis went after somebody's head. Somehow he was able to find a middle ground, if you will. You know what I mean? Dick Butkus, look at old Dick Butkus tapes. He finds a way to hit somebody square up. Doesn't have to hit them in their knee, doesn't have to hit them in their head. He finds a middle ground. So the point that I'm making is that it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other, and I feel like that's just where the football fans, football community, the NFL, college, pee-wee, high school, that's where everybody's leaning to, and I think it's a dangerous thing, man. I think it's a dangerous thing because Le'Veon Bell, I said Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell is the second best player. Some people might say he's the best player on the Steelers. When he got hit in the knee, and Mike Tomlin saying, that's an illegal play, blah, 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 won't stand up for his player, that lets me know that these coaches are on board with the owners and are on board with the commissioner when it comes to, hey, we're gonna support, and maybe not say, yeah, go after the players' knees, but we're gonna support this notion that we would rather have the players get hit in the knee than hit in the head. And to me, that's a little bit backwards, because if player safety is the main thing, like Roger Goodell keeps talking about player safety, then how is that a safe play? Odell Beckham was looking at the ball. Like, that's a defensive receiver. And yes, there's nothing against hitting the player in his knee when it comes to the rule book. I get that. But at the end of the day, you can't tell me that that was a safe play. You can't tell me that he was not trying to hurt him. Because again, the safety is on his knees and lunges at Odell Beckham's ankle knee area. And then you got McAdoo saying that that's a legal play, won't stand up for Odell Beckham. To me, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because if Tom Brady gets hit in his knee, it's a penalty. You can't hit a quarterback in their knees. But hey, some receiver, hit them in their knees. Some receiver, hit them in their knees when they're not looking. It's the same thing, man. It is the exact same thing. When it comes to a quarterback in the pocket looking downfield and a receiver looking at the ball, don't hit him in the knees. So if you can hit the quarterback, in between the shoulder and the knee area, why can't you do the same for receivers, man? Now again, Odell Beckham was acting a little dramatic. But at the end of the day, if the NFL wants this game to be safer, that's what they have to do.